So I was cruising the internet this morning, drinking my matcha latte, and I saw an article from Simon Johnson of the Evening Standard claiming that Chelsea were yet to receive any offers for Danny Drinkwater, loan or otherwise. A couple inquiries, but nothing else. And it sent a cool, strange tingle down my spine. One part sorrow, but one part sick pleasure, sort of akin to slowing down to check out a car crash. I completely forgot that Drinkwater even exists, and it got me thinking, who are some of the most pointless signings that Chelsea have brought in strictly during old Roman Abramovich's time with the club? Let's take a look, shall we? By the way, I'm Adrian, and welcome to Rabona TV, where we do stuff like this and stuff like that, roots of the rivalry videos, on your favorite derbies, and much more. So if you're new here and interested, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you enjoy this video, then let me know and maybe suggest some other teams that you want to see covered in the future. Last thing. I'm sorry, we're getting there, but this video is sponsored by our great friends over at OneFootball. OneFootball is the best app out there to keep you up to date on the latest news stories, allows you to customize your feed to your liking, watch highlights, check scores, and they have an entire transfer section that rates the rumors to keep you in the loop. Check the description for a free download on iOS and Android. Yes, it's free. Why wouldn't you? Now, I'm mostly going to be focusing on players who barely got a shout within the team or that have massive expectations and undeniably flopped. So, a guy like Fernando Torres will be dismissed or excused from this because comparatively, he's done way more for Chelsea than these other sorry suckers that I've chosen to focus on. No doubt he crashed and burned a bit at Chelsea, but he scored some important goals for them in their European conquests in the Europa League and the Champions League. Speaking of which, I'd say that Juan Verón fits the bill as an absolute money sinkhole for both United and Chelsea, in fact. After blowing it for the Red Devils after a £24 million move, Claudio Ranieri thought, hey, dilly ding dilly dong, because that's the sound a wild Ranieri makes, I can make something of this mess. £15 million were put up for Verón, and they got 1 goal, a ton of injuries, 2 loans away to Inter, and a loan away to Estudiantes, where he saw out his Chelsea contract before leaving on a free. It was really nice of Chelsea to help lessen the load that United had to bear of bringing in an exotic, expensive, and extremely injury-prone flop. Man, you know those "that's how mafia works" memes? If those existed back in 2008, I can guarantee that there would have been one made for Manchester City and their absolute robbery of Chelsea via Shaun Wright-Phillips, who actually turned out to be the inferior Wright-Phillips in some regards, but that's a debate for a different time and place because I mean, I don't even have a fleshed out opinion on it quite yet because I literally just thought of it now. But anyways, Wright-Phillips was making waves for Man City in the early to mid-2000s. Quick, technical, and most effectively employed as a right wing back under Kevin Keegan, I believe, where he developed a knack for some decent distribution and he could score a pearler now and then to boot. This caught the eye of Jose Mourinho at Chelsea, and the deal was done for £21 million in 2005, which was a lot back then, especially amongst English players. Keep in mind, Beckham went to Madrid for £24.5 million just 2 years earlier. So, what did they get for their investment? 3 seasons of middling performances from the Englishman. In his first season, he made only 15 starts, his form dropped, he didn't make the World Cup squad, and he generally just looked out of his depth. Where does the mafia meme that I alluded to earlier come in? In 2008, Chelsea sold him back to City for £8.5 million, about 13 million in losses. They played the long game, and that's how mafia works. Okay. Let's talk Shevchenko, a guy who was a bona fide stud for AC Milan, winning the Serie A, Champions League, Ballon d'Or, etc., and scoring bags of goals in doing so. So in May of 2006, and aged 29 and in the twilight of his career, Chelsea decided to splash £30.8 million, breaking the English record of that time. And by the way, isn't that cute? The record being £30 million at the time? Shevchenko started super well, scoring on his debut in the Community Shield, which Chelsea lost, I believe. But as far as Premier League performances go, the guy who was banging them in for fun in Italy scored just 9 for Chelsea, making 48 appearances in 2 seasons. Cumulatively, he basically missed an entire season. What made it hard to swallow was that he had scored 25 plus goals across all competitions in his last 3 Milan seasons, but at Chelsea, with his body just not working for him anymore, he scored 23 in total. They put an end to the misery by loaning him to Milan, again an unsuccessful season for him, before he left on a free to Dynamo Kiev 1 year before his contract was up. Another guy who came from Italy to bless Stamford Bridge with the grace of pointlessness, Juan Cuadrado. Ugh, what a story he is. After making waves while at Fiorentina, Chelsea signed Cuadrado for 30 million euros in 2015. That's according to Fiorentina's financial records. And to boot, they sent Mo Salah on loan to Fiorentina as make-weight. Yikes! Talk about choosing the wrong guy. After his first half season with Chelsea, remember he was a January signing, the old panic buy, he had just 3 starts and 14 appearances. He made 1 Premier League appearance in the next season before being sent on loan to Juventus, where he did fairly well. Well, at least well enough that after returning to Chelsea at the beginning of the 2016-17 season, he was loaned back to Juve again for 3 seasons, with an option to make the move permanent for around 20 million euros. There we go. 15 appearances for the club, absolutely nothing came of those 15 appearances, and they took a 10 million euro loss. Hey, you guys remember Adrian Mutu? This one is a bit of a weird one, as it definitely falls under the pointless category, but Chelsea did recoup almost all of the money they spent on him. Here, why don't I just explain instead of asking if you've heard of it? So, Adrian Mutu came from Parma in 2003 for 22.5 million euros, which was certainly nothing you'd aim a sneeze at back then. Pun intended, for those who know. Anyway, he started brightly, scoring 4 goals in his first 3 appearances, but then it all went south from there. And he finished the season with just 10 goals across all competitions. But in the following season, it went from bad to worse. As Mutu and Mourinho didn't see eye to eye, there were allegations of him faking injuries, etc., all of which culminated in Mutu making just 2 appearances for Chelsea in the 04-05 season, testing positive for cocaine use in September 2004, and getting banned from football for 7 months. However, in January of 2005, he signed a deal with Juventus. Chelsea sued Mutu for breach of contract, and in 2008, Mutu was ordered to pay Chelsea around 17 million euros in damages. So, in the end, a loss of only 5-ish million for Chelsea, but what a tragic waste of talent Adrian Mutu was. Addiction, man. Rough. Now, let's do a quick one before we hit the big daddy of pointless transfers from Abramovich. Chelsea fans, remember Papi Djilobodji? No? Well, I'm not surprised, because despite costing around £3 million in September of 2015, the dude made just 1 appearance. 1! In added time at the end of a 4-1 League Cup victory. In January of that same season, he went out on loan to Werder Bremen, and miraculously, in the summer of 2016, Chelsea actually turned a profit on Djilobodji when they sold him to Sunderland for somewhere around £8 million. Incredible. Somehow his value grew and he wasn't a pointless signing at all. Great foresight by Chelsea this time, playing the long game with their investments. Thought I'd just throw in a little happy story at the end there, you know, where Chelsea showed some great acumen. And finally, perhaps the most useless, ill-advised signing of all has gotta be Danny Drinkwater from Leicester City for a whopping £35 million, or about 40 million euros. I'm sorry. But let's look at recent transfers, you know, within the last 5 years or so, that were of a similar value. Alexis Sanchez to Arsenal, 36 million euros. Sadio Mane to Liverpool, 38 million euros. Mo Salah, he only cost Liverpool about 2 million euros more than Drinkwater cost Chelsea. N'Golo Kante, former teammate from Leicester, here's a fun one. He cost Chelsea just 35 million euros. And this one's kind of cheating, but Sergio Aguero cost City 40 million. Now, that was of course back in 2011-12, I get that, but still. What completely negates the argument of, well, transfers just cost a lot more now, is the fact that Danny Drinkwater, through no fault of his own, I have to say, cost £35 million and has made 23 appearances total. Not as bad as, say, Cuadrado perhaps, but at least Cuadrado went on a paid loan. Juventus was paying $5 million per year on his loan to cover his wages, I guess. Well, Danny Drinkwater is out here playing just 30 minutes of football since May of 2018. To make it worse, the guy is on £100,000 per week until 2022 to sit unused. I don't know if he's even made the bench under Sarri this season. He certainly hasn't lately, not even in the cup matches, and he didn't near the beginning of the season either, so unless there's some match in the middle that I missed, I think he's just been chilling. Poor guy. Chilled water. Danny Chillwater. And there's other guys that were close to being in this video of Chelsea's most pointless signings under Abramovich, such as the Batsman for 39 million euros just to send him on loan forever. Morata is on the verge of getting in there as well. Bakayoko, Zappacosta, etc. But yeah, that will do it for this one. Every like on this video will send thoughts and prayers to Danny Drinkwater, so smash like for Danny Chillwater. My name's Adrian, thanks for watching this video, and let me know if there are any other teams you want to see covered this way. And bye!